Good evening, everybody, and welcome to episode 8 of Sideline Sports Podcast. I am your host, Alexnavejasports, but before we get into business, episode 8 of Sideline Sports Podcast is brought to you by Lean Mean Meals, where you guys can get all of your meal prep done, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Right now it's pumpkin spice season, so why not treat yourself to a pumpkin spice coffee? They do have cold brew coffee along with detox juices. Make sure to use my promo code. It is Sideline10 to save yourself 10% off on your order. So make sure to do that. I'll go ahead and put the promo code along with the website down in the description. And again, before we get into business, I just want to take the time to say thank you very much to everybody who has been watching, subscribing, listening, whatever it may be, and staying tuned for Sideline Sports Podcast. And I promise you guys, we will not disappoint you. We have some big things coming up, especially on episode 10 coming up in 2 weeks. So don't want to give any spoilers away, but without further ado, let's get started. First things first, if you're a Dodgers fan, this is cold and rainy days for you right now. Dodgers getting eliminated by the Washington Nationals. And we could definitely say that the Nationals taking out the Dodgers, a big time surprise. And no, we were not expecting the Nationals to take out the Dodgers. We can definitely say the Dodgers are very confident going into playing against the Nationals, especially going into the postseason. They won 7 straight games, winning their last game against the Rockies, sweeping against the Padres, and sweeping the San Francisco Giants going into the postseason. Red hot. I mean, we're talking about boiling hot, red hot Dodgers. And the old saying goes in baseball, the hot teams are the ones that win in the postseason. Well, the other saying that goes too is the wild card teams are the teams that you never want to sleep on. So, with that being said, the Nationals, let's talk about how they even got here. They came in playing against a red-hot Milwaukee Brewers team. For the Brewers to hit a 2-run blast by former Dodger Yasmani Grandal, then by former UCI anteater Eric Thames to come in and hit a solo dinger, you're already thinking, oh, Brewers got it in the bag. Well, that wasn't the case either. So it wasn't until the later on in the game where young phenom Juan Soto came into the picture, got a bases clearing single to get the game 4-3. Nationals on top of the Milwaukee Brewers. And surprisingly enough, who did they hit it against? It was against Hader, where Hader, the big time reliever that was getting about 4 or 5 out saves, was trying to come in, bust a Kenley Jansen and try to get a 2 inning save, or even a 4-5 out save. Well, Josh Hader got rocked in the wild card game, which resulted in the Washington Nationals coming into Los Angeles red hot, continuously playing some pretty good baseball, come into LA. The Dodgers, game 1, they decide to go with their young pitcher Walker Buehler to start game 1. Wow. What a performance for Walker Buehler. We're talking about a Vanderbilt player coming in and just no sweat. You know, I'm good with the heroics. I could come in these dramatics. I could come in and pitch some October baseball. Well, Dave Roberts must have seen his Vanderbilt videos when he was pitching in the College World Series, because he would get the start for game 1 of the NLDS. Did not disappoint and just only allowed 1 run and was striking out Nationals hitters left and right. It wasn't until later on in the game where the Dodgers would get their run support. And not to mention Gavin Lux doing a little history right there, writing the history books in the major leagues, being the youngest guy in Major League Baseball history to get a pinch hit home run. The very first home run he hit in the postseason, and to be the youngest guy to do it, but in a pinch hit opportunity? Wow. This is against Hunter Strickland. This guy delivers in high heat, but not to mention, I feel like this was more of a Pedro Baez type of pitcher, but more for the Nationals. This guy throws a very flat fastball. He could throw high velocity, but very much hittable in the major league level. So not taking anything away from Gavin Lux. Well performed by Gavin Lux. Game 1 under the bag for the Dodgers, 6-0. It was against Patrick Corbin, who struggled to even throw a strike in the first inning. The Dodgers only capitalized on 1 run, but you know, end up coming victorious in that one. Now game 2. That's Clayton Kershaw's game. Clayton Kershaw did not exactly have the game he wanted. The Nationals will end up coming up, winning that one. It would be a 4-2 game. The thing with that game was the Dodgers decided to try to play, hey, let's play Superman. Let's play late night heroics. And let's try to come from behind and let's try to swing at pitches that are down low. That's what the Dodgers were doing throughout that whole entire night. It was Steven Strasburg pitching that game, and Strasburg was on fire. Like, ridiculous. Strasburg was just letting the Dodgers have it in that game. And this guy was delivering. Dodgers are even helping Strasburg's case. Dodgers are swinging at pitches that were out of the zone, swinging at pitches that were down in the dirt, outside, pitches that aren't even in the zone. So that would go to the Nationals, which then would tie up the series. Dodgers would have to head on over to Washington, which results in a Dodgers win 10-4. And that's with Hyun-Jin Ryu getting the start, despite him, hiccuping once and Juan Soto telling him to stop hiccuping and I'm going to hit a dinger off of you, 2-run blast right there. And, Juan Soto doing Juan Soto type of stuff, hits a dinger dead center and says, see ya to the ball. So those would be the only 2 runs that the Dodgers would score. But mind you, this would give some confidence to the Dodgers. This was the big-time 7-run 6th inning where the Dodgers having confidence. Russell Martin getting the start, being the big-time papa on the team right there and just helping out the team. It was a Russell Martin type of day. It was a Justin Turner type of day. It was just a well-deserved team win right there. Everybody played and paid their respects on that one for the Dodgers. So, Nationals. This is a do-or-die game for them here in Game 4 of the NLDS. We're still in Washington. So, what do the Nationals do? They decide to put Max Scherzer. That's right. The guy with one brown eye, one blue eye. Maybe I'm getting the colors wrong, but you guys get what I'm trying to go with. This guy has 2 different colored eyes. So, can he use that to his advantage? Maybe that's not fair. He gets to get 2 different colored eyes. So maybe I'm getting ahead of myself right now. But anyways, let's get back to baseball business. So Max Scherzer has the game of his life where everything mattered, which it really did matter. This is where the Nationals, the manager Dave Martinez decides to stretch out his outing as much as possible so that the bullpen does not allow him to allow the bullpen to come in. So Scherzer, absolutely dominant, beats the Dodgers 6-1, and Dodgers just could not do anything about it. This was a very tough game for the Dodgers. This was a start by Rich Hill, who only went 2 2/3 innings of work. He would allow 2 hits on 1 earned run, and 4 of them would be earned runs and would strike out 2. So a very tough outing for Rich Hill. Remember, this is a pitcher that is slowly trying to come from recuperation from his injuries that he was sustaining throughout the season. So this was going to be an overall bullpen day. So it was a mix of pitchers that came in. I haven't even paid respects or even paid my dues to one reliever. I'm going to give so many props and so much respect to Kenta Maeda. This was the one pitcher that Dave Roberts was able to rely on, and this is the one pitcher that the Nationals just could not hit. Maeda, who possesses one of the top sliders in the game, this was somebody that was very trustworthy, able to get the Dodgers out of trouble, able to eat up innings for the relievers. So it was all Kenta Maeda being able to stretch it out to game 5. Able to stretch it out to game 5. Now, we're going to talk about game 5. So game 5, if you're a Dodgers fan, you're already saying, "Oh, you know what? The Dodgers got this. Going back to LA, this is going to be a very tough game, but the Dodgers have this." That was the case at beginning the game. Walker Buehler gets the start, has the game of his life once again, throws a masterful 6 innings and 2/3 innings, only allows 1 run, and just has a great game. Eats up innings, tries to stretch it out. Only reason why they didn't stretch out his outing even more is pitch count was already up there. He already beat his career high in pitch count. You don't want to injure a big-time pitcher for the Dodgers, because if the Dodgers advance to the NLCS, the 2 pitchers that you're going to definitely rely on are Buehler and Ryu. Well, not the case. Juan Soto, again, this guy is going to be a young prospect who, if he hasn't already, this is going to be a player that's going to be a big-time superstar in the major leagues, because he would score the 1 run to make it 3-1, where the Dodgers, they scored a 2-run shot off of Muncy's 2-run shot to score in. Peterson and Muncy himself, along with Kike, coming in with a solo shot and being able to make it a 3-0 game. Then Juan Soto would come in, would get an RBI double to score in the first run for the Nationals. So, Dodgers were very confident, decides to put in Clayton Kershaw. Kershaw, well, I don't think he's met Anthony Rendon enough. I don't think he knows Rendon well enough. So the Dodgers decide to go with Joe Kelly in the top of the 10th. Kelly loads up the bases, allows a double to Eaton. Scratch that. Sorry, not a double. He would allow a leadoff walk to Adam Eaton. Then, of course, doing his thing, we start to get the bases loaded. And it was Rendon who gets a double to make runners, or a single. No, double. Correct, double. It would be make runners on second and third. Still no outs. So the Dodgers decide to intentionally walk Juan Soto. Well, that's a great idea. This is a hitter that's beginning to bop on the Dodgers pitching. So, smart idea. Walk the guy. Well, next batter, Howie Kendrick, gets a fastball. Low in the zone. Kendrick, as a good hitter as he is, decides to say, "You know what, Dodgers? This is what you guys get for trading me away and not keeping me here in the Dodger blue. Well, I'm going to go ahead and hit a grand slam because I decide I want to eat a grand salami breakfast plate over at Denny's, and I want to go ahead and finish things up right here. I don't like extra inning games. So we're going to finish things up, hit a grand salami. We're going to Denny's after this game, and it's a 7-4 game." And that would be that. The Dodgers get eliminated the first round of playoffs in the NLDS. Very much of a shocking game. Washington Nationals will be playing against the St. Louis Cardinals. The Cardinals will be the one having the home field advantage. Best of 7 on that one. First of all, I just want to say congratulations on the Washington Nationals. Well deserved. Pitching against the Dodgers. Can't emphasize that enough. This was a whole team loss. I'm not going to point this at anybody. Everybody had a responsibility of losing this game. Everybody had their responsibilities of why the Dodgers got eliminated as early as the NLDS. After 2 World Series appearances and now getting eliminated in the NLDS, well, if you're the front office, you'd best believe that there needs to be some big-time changes. You need to reconsider who is going to close your games, because Jansen is not going to be an option for your next coming year. So a new closer needs to come in for the Dodgers. Not just that, there needs to be a solid setup man for whoever your new closer is going to be. Also, you need to have solid relievers. The only way you're going to make it deep in these postseason runs is if you have a very dependable bullpen. Because let's say you have your Kershaw who can't make it deep in the postseason anymore. This was a pitcher that big time really affected the Dodgers' run this year. Spoiled 2 games already in the postseason this year. You need to have a guy that's going to be able to come in the 4th inning, 5th inning, and maybe eat up an inning or 2. Well, that was supposed to be Kenta Maeda, but Kenta Maeda was only selected for a very few games. So you need to be able to have more relievers that are going to be able to come in. So bullpen definitely needs to be addressed. If you're the front office, this is going to be a big time thing. And if you ask me, the very top of my list, Baez, I'm sorry, you need to go. Baez is a no-go for me. He needs to go, and he rarely had 1, 2, 3 innings in the postseason. So Pedro Baez has to go. Joe Kelly, he needs a lot of work. He has that contract with the Dodgers. He's going to have 2 years left on that contract. Kelly, got to get your act together. The trust in you is very slim for you right now. Urias, this was a guy that was on a roller coaster ride right now. It looked like he came back from Six Flags Magic Mountain right now, and he needs to find his consistency. Urias was a guy that you can depend on, but then there are games that he blew. I mean, we look at Game 4. This was a pitcher that came in and blew an opportunity for the Dodgers. So the bullpen is going to be something that the Dodgers really need to address. Now, starting rotation. Look, Hyun-Jin Ryu needs another extension, Dodgers. This is a guy you need to keep. This was a guy that, wow, blew my mind in the first half. This guy was already a Cy Young Award candidate. This guy can be in the ERA title. This is a guy that you do not want to sleep on. Dodgers, you need to re-sign this guy. You need to have that 1-2 punch of Buehler and Ryu. Now, I know you're going to put Kenta Maeda back in the rotation throughout the season. Not a problem. This is a guy you can put back in the rotation. So you can have a 1-2-3. Kershaw. I don't have any confidence for Kershaw right about now. Despite how many accolades Kershaw has, Kershaw's not a guy that should be in the top of the rotation. This is a guy that should drop down to the 4 or 5 spot in a rotation. Even then, even going into this season, I was saying Patrick Corbin needs to be a Dodger because the Dodgers need another dominant left-hander. Patrick Corbin would have been the perfect slot. He would have been the perfect Dodger right there. Perfect opportunity for them right there. Not the case for the Dodgers. Well, fortunate enough, they'll have plenty of time to be able to put either Tony Gonsolin, give him an opportunity to develop himself, maybe settle in the starting rotation, or even Dustin May. That's a big-time reliever as well. Or even a pitcher, a starting pitcher. So Dustin May could be in the option as well. So next year's rotation in order should be Buehler, Hyun-Jin Ryu, Clayton Kershaw maybe, or not even Kershaw in the 3 spot, Kenta Maeda on the 3 spot, Kershaw on the 4th spot, and either Gonsolin or Dustin May. Hold a tryout. See, maybe take turns on both of them. See who's the more dominant starting pitcher. And see from there. See who's the more dominant starting pitcher for the Dodgers. Is it May or is it Gonsolin? If you ask me, I like more Gonsolin. Gonsolin actually came up in some pretty big games. The biggest one that still stands out to me is against the Yankees. I mean, he only blinked once, and that was against Aaron Judge. I mean, come on. Who doesn't blink against Aaron Judge? This guy is a gargantuous-sized man. This guy will hit rockets to dead center field. And it's just right when you see the ball hit off of his bat, you already know, like, oh, see ya. All right, give me the next ball type of thing. So It's the Dodgers need to make some moves in their starting rotation. Even if they can sign a big time guy in the free agent market, then that's definitely going to be something the Dodgers need to address. We'll go ahead and do a free agent episode coming forward once we could start talking about who the Dodgers, Angels, Padres can be an option for once it comes to free agency season. But we're going to go ahead and take a quick break here in Sideline Sports Podcast. But when we come back, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up with what the mistakes that the hitters did tonight for the Dodgers. And not just for tonight, throughout the NLDS as you're watching a Sideline Sports Podcast.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Munoz, and I play for the Guatemala Women's National Team. And you're here watching Sideline Sports Podcast.
Welcome back to Sideline Sports Podcast presented by Lean Mean Meals. And you guys just saw a little sneak peek of what's to come on a Sideline Sports Podcast. I'm not going to give away too much information, but make sure to subscribe and hit the thumbs up on the YouTube channel because you never know what's going to come up. You never know who could pop up. You never know who could come in as a guest here in Sideline Sports Podcast. So always subscribe, and as long as you guys subscribe, we're going to make sure to take care of you guys, bring in some athletes, big-time people here on the podcast. But without further ado, let's continue going. Let's finish off this podcast with talking about the Dodgers hitters. Now, going into the season, as I mentioned, the Dodgers had a 7-game winning streak. Red hot Dodgers, right? Well, tell me, where's Bellinger? Where's Seager? Where is Pollock? Where are these big time bats? The only guys that seemed to be consistent was Max Muncy. Martin was a big-time hitter. He was a big-time contributor. Definitely tell you that much. He contributed to that 7-run rally back in the 6th inning. And we're talking about when the Dodgers were still in Washington in Nationals Park. Where are those Dodgers? Where was Will Smith? Will Smith made the roster for the playoffs. Where was Will Smith in the whole entire action? Will Smith was still with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and still his head wasn't entirely locked into the game. He wasn't there the whole entire series. He just went MIA. I think he was trying to come back with the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but he was going to be the Will Smith. He was going to be the new Will Smith because Will Smith is still making the Gemini movie that's about to come out this Friday, I believe. But getting a little ahead of myself right there. But Will Smith was nowhere to be found either. This was a Dodger team that, when coming into the playoffs, were definitely underestimating the Washington Nationals. Washington Nationals came in and attacked the Dodgers exactly where it hurts them, attacking them, and they definitely did their homework, studied up on the Dodgers, throwing them off speed pitches low and outside. And if you're Seager, you know to attack him low and inside, throw him an off-speed pitch, slider, curveball. He's going to chase after that. That's a put-away pitch against Seager. Bellinger, yes, he got base hits here and there. But where were you in the big-time moments? Where were you when the Dodgers had the bases loaded? Where were you when the Dodgers needed things going on? You decided to try to show up in Game 5? That's not how it works. If you want to be an MVP candidate, if you want to be a big-time player, you need to be there from Game 1 all the way to Game 5. And if you ask me, the Dodgers should have already been waiting for the Cardinals. They would have already been playing in the NLCS, for all we know. Maybe they could, the game already Friday, Dodgers, Cardinals. Why? Dodgers were impatient. Dodgers were trying to rush the game. They were trying to just quickly, instead of being patient. Sit back, wait for a pitch you can drive. Wait for that. The Dodgers only did that in the 2 games they won, scoring 10, scoring 6. Well, how did you do that? Well, that was because they sat back, waited for the pitch that they wanted instead of swinging at all these pitches, and they made the jobs very much easier for Patrick Corbin, for Strasburg, for Max Scherzer. These pitchers would throw sliders in the dirt, and the Dodgers would chase it. They would pursue after it, where the Dodgers were just striking out left and right. It was just ridiculous. And if you're a Dodger fan, I'm talking for all Dodger fans. In that game where the Dodgers scored 7 in the 6th inning, before that, it was a heart attack. The Dodgers were just swinging at just about everything. So, if you're a Dodger fan, you're really scratching your head right about now, and you're even questioning Dave Roberts right about now. So, final thing we're going to talk about, management. Dave Roberts, I don't think it would have been a good idea to put Kershaw in a situation like that. I think Kenta Maeda would have been your best option to hold it down, and maybe you could have put Kenley Jansen at the end. Get the final 3 outs, not 4, not 5, 3 outs. Get the final save, close the books, and I still think the Dodgers should have won this in Game 3. Should have already been done. It should have been a sweep, but the Dodgers made it too easy for the Nationals, swinging at pitches, and there needs to be some things that need to be addressed. As far as hitting is concerned, I think their hitting is closer than their pitching. I mean, how you needed your young guy Alex Verdugo you need him back. You need him back. It's going to be curious. It's going to be interesting to see how the Dodgers are going to move on with the catching situation, too. I know Will Smith is going to play a full season next year. I'm wondering if they're going to call back their other catching prospect in Keibert Ruiz. We'll wait and see what the Dodgers do. Russell Martin didn't have that bad of a season either, so this could be a veteran catcher that could lead by example. So we're just going to wait and see. Dodger fans, not exactly the type of year you wanted to have. And if you are the Dodgers front office, please address pitching. I mean, big-time pitching. The Dodgers should have won it in 2017, if you ask me. 2017 was the year they should have finished it. They were off just by a hair. And this just wasn't a good year for the Dodgers. To go from the World Series to get eliminated to the NLDS, not the year you want to have. So, that's all the time that I have left for you folks. I really wanted to get into more info on LA sports, but not exactly the best of weeks for LA. But we're going to go ahead and close things off. Again, episode 8 of Sideline Sports Podcast was sponsored by Lean Mean Meals. Make sure to take advantage of your meal prep. Remember, they do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I'll put the website down in the description below. Remember, save 10% off by using my promo code. That is Sideline10. I'll also put that down into the description. They also have detox juices and cold brew coffee. And again, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. If you guys enjoyed this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Also, give a thumbs up to the video, because I'm telling you guys, we're going to have big time things coming up for Sideline Sports Podcast. You don't even know what's to come up next week. We're going to have an NBA special, so make sure to stick around for that. I'm Alex Naveja signing off for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to Sideline Sports Podcast.